are setting up an emergency shelter to offer accommodation to people who live on the streets. Some students will also be helping out, and they're now making final preparations to open their doors next week.
At 0 degrees Fahrenheit, exposed skin begins to lose feeling in under 5 minutes. At -18 Celsius, your body starts prioritizing survival almost immediately. Blood pulls inward. Fingers stiffen. Breathing becomes shallow. Judgment slows. Most people experience this temperature for the length of a walk from their car to a building. Then they go inside. But in Minneapolis, hundreds of people don't. They wake up in it every single morning with no furnace, no insulated walls, no emergency backup, just thin fabric, frozen sidewalks, and whatever survival knowledge they've managed to collect. And here's the part most people don't realize. Homelessness in winter isn't random suffering. It's engineering. It's physics. It's strategy learned through failure, because when the city freezes, people living outside become accidental cold weather specialists, whether they want to or not. You probably think warmth comes from thick coats. But here's the thing. Coats are secondary. The extreme discomfort starts underneath you. Frozen ground pulls heat away 25 times faster than cold air. That's not exaggeration. That's thermodynamics, which means the first rule of street survival isn't layering, it's separation. Experienced survivors never sleep directly on concrete, ever. They build platforms from flattened cardboard boxes. Appliance boxes are gold. Refrigerator boxes are prime real estate. Corrugated layers trap air. Air traps heat. 2 layers beneath your body matter more than 3 blankets on top. Most newcomers pile insulation above themselves like they're building a human sandwich. Wrong direction. 80% of heat loss happens through contact with the ground. Street veterans learned this long before scientists published it. But cardboard has a weakness: water. The moment it gets wet, it stops insulating and starts conducting cold straight into your body. So people scout dry cardboard during daylight hours. They hoard it. They hide it. They guard it. November dumpsters become competitive zones. Arguments break out over clean boxes. Sounds ridiculous, until you realize that box might be the difference between waking up or not. Now here's where tents enter the picture. You might assume tents solve everything. They don't. They create new problems. A tent traps heat? Yes. But it also traps moisture. Your breath freezes on the walls. Condensation drips back down. Sleeping bags slowly become damp. And damp insulation loses effectiveness fast. So tent survival becomes a balancing act. Warmth versus ventilation. People cut micro vents near the ceiling. They prop doors open with shoes. They leave gaps even when it feels counterintuitive. Because dry cold beats wet warmth every time. Inside many tents, you'll find mylar emergency blankets taped to the walls. Those crinkly silver sheets reflect up to 90% of body heat back inward. They cost $3. They perform like high-end insulation. Street communities figured this out long before survival influencers did. But tents face another enemy: snow load. Fresh snow looks light. It isn't. Wet snowfall can add hundreds of pounds to a tent roof overnight. So angle matters. 45 degrees. That's the sweet spot. Steeper, and you lose interior space. Flatter, and snow accumulates until the structure collapses at 3 in the morning. People learn this through experience, through ruined shelters, through long freezing nights rebuilding in darkness. Wind matters too. Wind steals heat faster than temperature alone. So camps arrange barriers. Shopping carts become wind walls. Pallets become breakpoints. Tarps get positioned upwind. Everything is designed to slow moving air. Because stopping wind increases perceived warmth by up to 15 degrees, which can mean the difference between frostnip and frostbite. And frostbite doesn't negotiate. It takes fingers first, then toes, then ears. Your body makes a brutal calculation when core temperature drops. It protects the heart, lungs, and brain. Everything else becomes expendable. Feet suffer most. Hands get attention. You feel them going numb. You blow on them. You shove them in pockets. Feet sit quietly inside wet boots until damage is already happening. That's why plastic grocery bags become medical equipment. Sock. Plastic bag. Second sock. That vapor barrier keeps moisture away from skin. Same principle used in military boot liners. This version costs nothing. People lose more toes than fingers on the streets. Now here's something that surprises housed viewers. Sound changes in snow. Snow absorbs noise. Wind carries it away. Cities become quiet, which makes tents vulnerable. You don't hear footsteps approaching. You don't hear zippers. So people build noise systems. Loose bottles tied to guy lines. Plastic bags on ropes. Anything that rattles in wind becomes an alarm. Not just for strangers, for storms. Because blizzards don't arrive loudly. They announce themselves slowly. Air pressure shifts. Smells change. Street veterans feel it in their joints. They start preparing hours before weather apps update. Tarps go up. Sleeping systems reorganize. Extra socks come out. People eat more. Calories become insulation. Fat becomes fuel. Cold increases metabolism by up to 30%. Your body burns energy just trying to stay warm, which means hunger intensifies right when food access drops. Restaurants close early. Outreach vans cancel routes. Transit slows. So people stockpile dense calories. Peanut butter packets. Protein bars. Ramen. Not comfort food. Survival food. Sugar spikes crash. Protein sustains. Fat lasts. Street diets become strategic. Hot food matters more than hot drinks. Coffee gives you 30 minutes. Soup keeps your furnace running for hours. Digestion generates internal heat. It's warmth from the inside out. Alcohol feels warming. It lies. It dilates surface blood vessels and pulls heat away from vital organs. Roughly 20% of hypothermia deaths involve alcohol. People feel warm right until they don't wake up. Emergency heating introduces another danger. Carbon monoxide. Some people try burning candles or small stoves inside tents. Without ventilation, carbon monoxide builds fast. People fall asleep. They don't wake up. So experienced survivors never fully seal shelters. Ventilation stays open, even when it hurts. Because oxygen matters more than comfort. Body heat sharing becomes essential. Couples sleep together. Groups rotate positions through the night. Middle warms up. Edges rotate inward. It's slow motion rotisserie. Nobody's getting cooked. Everyone's trying not to freeze. One additional body raises interior shelter temperature by 10 to 15 degrees. Dogs help too. 3-dog night isn't a band name, it's a survival metric. 1 dog, chilly. 2 dogs, serious. 3 dogs, you might live. Street dogs become living heating pads. They don't judge. They just radiate warmth. Trust becomes complicated. Sleeping close creates vulnerability. Theft happens. Assault happens. So camps organize watches, rotations. Someone stays awake while others sleep. Trading warmth for security. It's neighborhood watch under highway overpasses. And here's something rarely discussed. Bathroom access. Public restrooms close during storms. Libraries shut. Coffee shops lock doors. So people urinate outdoors in sub-zero temperatures, with gloves off. That exposure alone causes frostbite. Camps build privacy windbreaks. People escort each other. They minimize uncovered time. Every bodily function becomes tactical. Minor cuts become major infections. Skin cracks from dryness. Hands bleed. Without care, bacteria enter. Outreach medics carry ointment and bandages. But supplies run out. So people treat each other. They clean wounds with bottled water. They monitor swelling. They remind each other to change dressings. Because cold-stressed bodies heal slowly. Phones become lifelines. Charged phones mean alerts about police sweeps, warming centers, and open shelter beds. Libraries become charging stations. Homeless people guard phones more carefully than blankets, because information equals survival. Shelters exist, but they fill fast. Minneapolis shelters reach capacity before sunset on cold nights. Many require sobriety, which means the most impaired get turned away. Couples get separated. Men here, women there. Many choose freezing streets over being apart. Inside shelters, theft is common. Shoes disappear. Backpacks vanish. Some decide outdoor risk feels safer than indoor loss. Transgender individuals face assault rates exceeding 30% in gendered shelter spaces. So people calculate danger. They choose the least bad option. Law enforcement adds another layer. Encampments get cleared. Tents dismantled. Belongings thrown away. Often during storms, people rebuild in hours. With numb hands. In blowing snow. Now let's bring in the ice. Protests. Protesters stand outside for hours. They learn how fast fingers go numb. They learn chanting warms lungs. They learn to share hand warmers. Homeless people live this daily, not temporarily, chronically. Some protesters bring supplies afterward. They drop socks. They deliver hot meals. They stay and talk. Movements intersect. Cold creates solidarity, because proximity creates understanding. Not headlines, not hashtags. People. And here's the quiet truth. Most homeless people don't want sympathy. They want stability. They don't want blankets. They want keys. They don't want charity. They want consistency. They don't want to be inspirational. They want to sleep without calculating wind chill. And until that happens, they'll keep engineering warmth from scraps. They'll keep inventing systems inside storms. They'll keep teaching survival to newcomers. Because winter doesn't wait. And neither do they. But surviving the night is only half the story. Because morning brings a different kind of cold. That's when exhaustion sets in. Sleep on frozen ground is never deep. People wake every 90 minutes just to move circulation back into their fingers and toes. Jumping jacks, arm circles, walking in place, not exercise. Emergency maintenance. You don't rest through winter homelessness. You manage it. And here's something most people don't realize. Snowstorms change psychology. When visibility drops and streets empty, isolation intensifies. Sound disappears. Human contact shrinks. People inside warm homes don't feel it. But outside, the city feels abandoned. Some describe it like being erased. That's when despair gets dangerous. Which is why camps lean heavily on routine. Morning check-ins. Buddy systems. Someone walks the perimeter. Someone heats water. Someone looks for outreach vans. Structure keeps people grounded when everything else feels temporary. Veterans often take leadership roles. Old military habits resurface. Fire watch schedules. Supply organization. Clear chains of responsibility. Not because anyone appointed them, because chaos kills. Street communities develop their own logistics. Who knows which church serves hot meals on Tuesdays? Which security guard gives warnings before sweeps? Which subway entrance vents warm air? Information moves fast. Within 48 hours, everyone in a 3-mile radius knows. It spreads faster than social media. Because it's survival intelligence. Then there are hidden heat sources. Steam tunnels beneath cities stay near 60 degrees year-round. Some people live in them for decades. Subway grates release warm air all night. Parking garage exhaust vents push heat to street level. You've walked past people sleeping on these spots without realizing why they chose that exact patch of sidewalk. Laundromats become sanctuaries. 24-hour locations offer warmth, outlets, and dry clothes. People fold laundry slowly. One shirt takes 10 minutes. Nobody questions someone folding clothes. Hospital emergency rooms become warming centers of last resort. Some fake minor symptoms just to sit in heated waiting rooms. It's clever. It's heartbreaking. Cash machine vestibules used to help. Most banks installed time locks. Now doors eject people after 10 minutes. Corporate America quietly closed one more refuge. Still, people adapt. They always do. But here's where it gets complicated. Law enforcement displacement resets everything. Encampments that took weeks to build get dismantled in hours. Cardboard platforms disappear. Tarps vanish. Personal survival systems get tossed. People scatter. They rebuild somewhere else, often without their supplies, in sub-zero temperatures, with numb hands. Snowstorms don't pause for policy. Which brings us to frostbite. The body hides it. Victims can't feel it happening. So people inspect each other. Buddy checks. White waxy patches on ears. Gray spots on cheeks. Hard, numb fingers. That's frostbite starting. Immediate warming matters. Not rubbing. Never rubbing. Gentle heat. Body contact. Hand warmers. The numbers are brutal. Roughly 2,000 homeless Americans require amputations from severe frostbite every year. Lose toes and walking becomes harder. Lose fingers and carrying becomes harder. Each injury compounds vulnerability. One bad night creates permanent consequences. Wool socks matter more than expensive coats. Wet feet develop trench foot in 48 hours. Then infection. Then tissue death. All preventable with dry wool. Yet donation drives flood shelters with coats. They don't bring socks. They bring old sweaters. They don't bring sleeping bags. They bring mismatched gloves. Well-meaning efforts miss the mark. People donate what feels generous, not what saves lives. Here's what actually helps. 0-degree sleeping bags. Wool socks. Chemical hand warmers. Mylar blankets. Plastic bags. Cash. Cash lets people buy exactly what they need. Medication. Transit. Food. Hygiene. People living outside understand their own survival math better than any donor. Eye contact helps too. Just acknowledging someone exists, not staring through them, not pretending they're invisible. Shelter workers consistently mention this. Human recognition matters. Winter survival kits designed by housed people look very different from kits designed with input from homeless individuals. The difference is embarrassing. Granola bars versus petroleum jelly. Travel toiletries versus vapor barriers. Intent versus experience. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. All of these survival strategies exist because we failed at the obvious solution. Permanent housing with support services costs cities less than the revolving door of emergency rooms, police responses, and shelter cycling. It's cheaper to house people than to let them freeze. Yet every year, hundreds still die outside. Not because we lack resources, because we lack will. The knowledge to survive winter shouldn't be necessary. It shouldn't be passed from veteran to newcomer. It shouldn't require engineering tents in blizzards. It shouldn't involve plastic bags on feet and cardboard on sidewalks. And yet, here we are. People sleeping inches from traffic. Building warmth from scraps. Sharing body heat with strangers. Teaching frostbite detection under overpasses. While others debate policy from heated rooms. And this is where the ICE protests matter. Not because of politics, because they force people outside. They expose bodies to cold. They teach discomfort. They create moments of overlap between housed and unhoused realities. Some protesters leave with numb fingers. Homeless people stay. Some protesters go home. Homeless people rebuild tents. Some protesters bring supplies. Homeless people distribute them. Movements intersect briefly, but survival continues long after cameras leave. Here's the part that stays with you. Most homeless people don't talk about winter as tragedy. They talk about it as a season, something to get through. They measure time by storms. They plan around forecasts. They count hand warmers. They ration socks. They rotate watch duty. They share peanut butter. They engineer shelters. They adapt. Quietly. Relentlessly. Not because they're heroic, because they're human. And humans survive, even when systems fail them, even when cities forget them, even when temperatures drop to zero. So next time you complain about scraping your windshield, remember someone woke up on frozen concrete. Next time you feel cold walking 3 blocks, remember someone is calculating wind direction for their tent. Next time you see a bundled figure near a steam grate, remember that spot was chosen with precision. Because winter doesn't care who you are. It only cares what you know. And the people living outside know more about cold than most of us ever will. Not by choice, by necessity.